So, how do you start your journey as an audiophile? When I mean audiophile, I don't mean it in a traditional, old school kind of style. In my book, as long as you are interested in exploring sound in general and take action to know more about it, be it sing it, listen to it, discuss relevant topics with your friends, learn the music theory behind it, try to play it on an instrument, buy a piece of gear to play around, etc. You are an 11 out of 10 audiophile in my mind already. With that being said, leave a comment down below to let your peers know more about it, because I'm curious and I'm sure other people watching this video will be curious about other stories as well. Don't worry, I will throw my stupid story on the table first so that you will not be embarrassed to do so. This is a story about a normal guy who loves playing video games, listening to music, and casually playing violin as entertainment. He never treats himself as a professional with trained years because he can never exactly tell something like, and that's a 1.5 decibel dip at around 5k area and it's unpleasant to listen to. I'll be very honest here, I can't. I just can't. And I have no plan to own a measurement rig to shit out sentences like that as well. So my faithful encounter with audio can be dated back to high school, when everyone was still using those flanky flip phones and participating in the console war between NDS and PSP, Mario Kart and Monster Hunter. I was a weirdo who chose not to participate in either side, and instead decided to go for a device that was somehow considered as a legendary item that only a rich kid would buy. iPod Touch. I still remember the sheer amount of happiness generated by playing simple games like Cut the Ropes, exploring different applications on the App Store, watching random microwave videos from Smash, and most importantly, discovering the fact that I can put thousands of songs, or in more imaginative wordings, thousands of CD into this little device, and listen to them whenever, wherever I want. It was such a good time and I didn't think too much about gear or sound quality at that moment. It was just all about putting in as much music as I could and having a taste of all of them. If I remember correctly, my device was full of J-pops, Toho, nightcores, and classical music, which served as a tool for me to treat. Believe it or not, as rotten as I can be, I used it to be a violin student. Just a naughty one though. So basically what happened was, each week I had a 45-minute violin lesson on Sunday, in which 50 minutes were allocated for revision and 30 minutes for learning new pieces. To deal with that 15 minutes of quote-unquote mini exam, I was that piece of shit who would only prepare an hour before the lesson by listening to the songs, trying to manipulate short-term memory, and to sight read them as fast as possible. Most of the time I could get around it, but sometimes I couldn't, because the difficulty of songs did fluctuate in those books. And that old man would be smiling and be like, "Get wrecked, kiddo, now you cannot sight read through it, huh?" And I would be like, "Ah, fuck," lowering my head and apologize. He's always forgiving, and the replies usually be like, "It's fine, being a student nowadays is not easy anyway, just make sure that next time you get it right." And that was my little golden time in high school, and the reason why classical music started to exist in my device. Fast forward 4 years, I upgraded to the 5th generation of iPod Touch and started to care more about sound quality, given that there was a huge improvement in sound when Apple finally decided to shift from the old school flathead earbud to a more modern semi-in-ear earpod. I started to put music with a looseness format such as FLAC and WAVE into my device, and 320 kbps MP3 eventually became the minimum requirement to fit in the library. At that moment, there were 2 songs that I absolutely fell in love, one being Only My Railgun from Flipside, and another one being Emerald Sword from Rhapsody. Both tracks naturally sounded like adrenaline and lifted my spirit on rainy days. One day, a thought suddenly occurred. Man, I wish their voice sounded clearly in the track. Back in the day, I had zero clue about how mastering and mixing work. All I knew was that maybe I needed a pair of better earphones. That was the exact moment I started to stare into the abyss and had a one-way ticket down the rabbit hole. First, I bought an upgraded version of EarPods from Apple. Some of you may not know, Apple used to sell a pair of earphones that had balanced armatures inside. I was disappointed by that because although it sounded a little bit clearer, the grand dynamics needed for pop songs are gone. Not long after, I had my first pair of proper in-ear monitors from Audio-Technica, IM02. It was a simple 2BA setup with decent technical performance, which formed my basic expectation of a pair of good earphones. Now come to think of it, it was the definition of neutral back then, huh? Afterward, you know the story. I kept upgrading or sidegrading my gears to satisfy my curiosity about sound in general. My OCD level as an audiophile kinda peaked in college, after owning a pair of first-gen Andromeda, CKL9 Limited, putting all the DSD songs in DPX-1A, realizing how sound can ultimately be in a stacked setup, listening to different things for at least 4 hours per day, etc. I started to accept and appreciate different kinds of sound signatures in the process, and to take a more lenient or open-minded approach to sound in general. At the end of the day, no matter what kind of gear I'm using, they're just like filter lenses in front of a camera. I may like the outcome from some lenses more than others, but that will not affect my appreciation towards the ever-changing, yet eternal-like scenery in front of my eyes. And there you go. That's the story of a filthy casual who most likely just plays some games or shuffles on YouTube playlists nowadays. And then he'll tell you about what he heard and his overall thought about a pair of earphones. He's not going to pull out a frequency graph, point to a specific frequency and say, look at this little dip at 5K, my ear can hear that. Because he has nothing to prove in terms of objectivity or his ability to listen. He is subjective and he's always okay to be the wrong one. And if he ever needs a reality check, he'll just pull out a double stop on his instrument and laugh at how bad it sounds nowadays. The only dissonance left in his mind is that he will never have another chance to share this ugly double stop with the old man that he respects. Well, it is what it is. Life just goes on. And that is my little story. Anyway, thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave your story down below in the comment section, or else it's just unfair to me, man. And see you in next video. Bye.